Lonmin has given notice to unions that it intends to restructure operations and cut employee costs. The move could result in redundancies and retrenchments. The Section 189 notice this week follows rather the recent 6-week strike at the company's Marikana mine. Joining us now to discuss the threat of retrenchments at Lonmin is Gideon du Plessis. He's the General Secretary of the Trade Union Solidarity. Gideon, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, the indications are that if there are to be retrenchments at Lonmin, it will happen at senior management and highly skilled level, which of course involves a lot of your members. Take us through what the potential impact of those retrenchments will be for your members.
Karima, in the first instance, it did not come as a surprise, but we're still very upset because since the start of the process, the people who were literally keeping the mine going and kept on working was exactly that category, the skilled category, the management category. And although we don't want to see anybody getting retrenched, what they are doing now, that's the soft target. And those are the people who've also lost out with bonuses, allowances during the strike, because that's a big portion of their package, approximately 70% of their monthly package they've lost out on. They were intimidated. Then there was a strike deal, which they did not benefit from. And
is that the 11% that workers got?
That's correct. And then in the end, when the company now decided to commence with a retrenchment consultation process, they are again targeting that level. So in other words, they are just been prejudiced all along. So as a result, today we had to put out so many fires from our members who are so upset, they are demotivated, and it's also a very dangerous ploy by Lonmin, because if you lose your skilled people, or if you demotivate your skilled people and management people, obviously it will affect their productivity, and that after what they've just been through.
Now, you've been quoted in the newspapers, Gideon, as saying that Solidarity is going to fight this. What are your options, legally speaking?
In the first instance, they have indicated that the reason for retrenchment, it's a cost-cutting exercise. They need to reduce their costs. So we will focus on costs. In other words, they did not say it's an overstaffing, a redundancy issue. So what we will do, the law provides for us in Section 189 of the Labour Relations Act that we first need to explore all possible alternatives. So what we will do is we will first target the corporate luxuries. Those are the first-class flights, the 5-star accommodation,
the helicopters.
They have own helicopters, they've got a game farm, a conference center, a wonderful facility, but we need to decide, do we need that convenience at this stage? We will also look at other things like a bonus freeze, perhaps look at a wage increase freeze. Those are all the things we still need to look at, but also all the senior management have their own personal security guards. The day after the shooting, they were all signed up and they are following wherever they go. We don't think that's necessary anymore, so that's what we will do. We'll purely focus on that. But today, when we met with Lonmin in an informal discussion, they indicated to us, but don't worry, this is a re-engineering exercise. We want to re-engineer the whole business, from the shifts to the way we do business. We want to realign it, and we said, but why do you then do it on the retrenchment process? Because you are coming with a retrenchment X to the consultation tables. In other words, we're on the back foot, and I don't think that's in good faith, and that's good labour relations.
Now, there's been a lot of focus, of course, on Lonmin and the Platinum Belt. There has been a lot of criticism for the way in which the mining companies have handled particularly wage demands outside of the bargaining council. And of course, we know in Platinum there isn't, the kind of structures that you have in the gold sector and in the coal sector. When looking back, Gideon, what is your take on the way in which management handled the demands that were outside of the legal provisions that are provided for in the Labour Relations Act?
Well, Karima, in the first instance, in mid-July, we already got indications that Lonmin, they were under pressure, their sales were down by 6%, they're not going to meet their 750,000 ounces of platinum, so that was already the case. Then the strike commenced. It wasn't handled very well from a bargaining point of view. They bargained outside the process. They've never, ever threatened with dismissals. Then the terrible shooting, but thereafter, being in such deep trouble, they came and they negotiated a fairly favourable wage deal. Whilst they cannot afford it, they said right from the beginning, we cannot afford it. So they went through it.
It's a very short-term approach.
A very short-term approach. So they said, let's absorb the cost, let's satisfy foreign investors, political pressure that they were under, let's get it back to normality, and then straight afterwards they will obviously deal with the costs, and that is what we're dealing with now. We say that's bad faith, because we went through this terrible process, and the best thing they can do is say, we're in trouble, we need to raise funds, we need cash, but we need to reduce costs as well. Let's sit together, and every single person, all 28,000 employees, must then sit and find a way how they can save money to the company. But this is a quick fix. All you do is you retrench your skilled workers, and the mistake was made during 2008, the end of 2000, beginning of 2009. A lot of the mining companies went through the same process, got rid of senior manager, got rid of skilled workers, and then later on, when you have to hit that new wave again to get the process going again, then you've lost those workers. And we just believe they're playing with fire, and they're sending out a wrong message that we don't care about scarce skills. So that is definitely something that we're very concerned about, and we will drive it. We will fight it as a matter of principle.
Now, of course, there's a lot of discussions about where to next for Lonmin. I mean, the company's been hit by financial difficulties, labor unrest, and so on. There's a lot of rumors that, Lonmin could be wanting a way out. What is Solidarity's take on the kind of long-term, outlook for the company, and will the company be sold off? What have you heard?
Karima, that's where we also need strong union leadership. We don't want to push a company too hard to the point where they become a takeover target. We think they are already, because we remember Xstrata at one stage were interested. Now African Rainbow Minerals indicated that they might be interested if Lonmin comes at the right price. So that is definitely a concern. We need to work with the company, they need to work with us, because these kind of takeovers, and as a going concern, is never a pleasant thing for the company and its employees. So we need to prevent it. But that's what we're saying. We need open and honest debate and discussion from the company side. And there are other things that we can look at. For instance, they've outsourced a lot of the services. We need to look at perhaps insourcing again, because it's a lot cheaper. Yes, it takes up more management time, but there they can save money, because we definitely need to avoid a situation where in the end they have to close down, that they're getting taken over by another company, because the next thing that will happen, it will definitely be a slash and burn exercise from another company coming in.
So, and more job losses.
More job losses. So we need to definitely be very cautious, but we are concerned. About an hour ago, we heard that Anglo Platinum, their CEO, indicated that they have reviewed their business. Definitely retrenchments is on the cards for them as well. We've heard rumors and some of the inside info that they may also go to the market and see if they should not rather sell their business. It's not a loss-making business. So definitely there's a knock-on effect. What's happening at Lonmin most probably will happen at Anglo Platinum. So that is a definitely concern, that there's major instability. And job losses is a major thing in this country that leads to more unrest. In the mining industry, for every employee that you employ, it creates 1.7 other jobs for service providers and contractors. So the reverse will happen. Every employee that you retrench, you lose 1.7 jobs. The Chamber of Mines have indicated that every employee in the entry level and middle management level have 10 dependents. Mm-hmm. So in other words, you don't affect only one employee, you affect also 10 other people. So
and households in general.
Exactly. So it can lead to massive socioeconomic hassles and problems for the country.
Gideon, thank you so much for coming in. We obviously watch this developments very closely at Lonmin, and also, as you say, at Anglo Plats. Thank you so much for your time.